Tara Sheree.
And how old are you?
I am 32.
Okay. And tell me, who are you on a soul level?
Who am I on a
soul level?
Meaning?
So underneath all the material stuff, underneath like where you work and the stuff that people care about, surface, like who are you really?
I am a very kind person. I am a giver, and I care about other people's well-being before mine, mostly.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay. So is there anything that's happened in the past or anything that's going on right now, I guess, that has a big impact on who you are, or that has made you this person?
I would say a lot of family influence. My grandfather, I come from a multicultural background. My dad is Arab and my mom is Persian, and extended family all throughout the countries. But they're very focused on schooling and career. So I get a lot of that from them, and basically my parents are the two people that if they saw someone struggling or needed help, they would give the clothes off their back to help somebody. So that's where I really see it from. And my grandfather too, just very kind and real people. No, not anything fake at all.
Okay, I love that. So I'm going to give you 3 categories, and I want you to pick like what means the most to you and what means the least to you, and you can mix and match them however you want.
Okay.
So the first category is love, sex, and relationships. The next category is society, culture, politics. And the third is spirituality and or religion, because everybody doesn't put those together. So what comes first in your life?
With love, sex, and...
Well, with all of them. So you can like say love, spirituality, like you can mix them however you want, or you can keep them, or we can go through individual categories if that's easier for you.
We could go through individual categories.
Okay, so the first was love, sex, relationships.
I would say as I'm getting older, somewhat important. It's not the primary focus. I just got into my career a little while ago, so right now that is the primary focus, to kind of cultivate and nurture that baby that I have going on and get a little bit more distinguished in there. But I look at relationships as, at least romantic relationships, as accents of life. It's not the end-all be-all. It just kind of adds the flavor as you go along. I was kind of taught never be dependent upon a man. And so I have made sure that I don't ever have to be. It's more of a want than a need. But I definitely think that it's super important to experience those feelings of love and the sexual intimacy and everything like that.
Okay. So the next is society, culture, politics. So what are your thoughts about society right now? Are you into politics? Like...
My undergrad degree was in political science and international affairs, and so I do have a great interest in the current situation and in politics in general, but it's kind of disheartening to see what is going on around us. It's not the most ideal situation. So I tend to, you read up about it, but I tend to keep my opinions a little bit quiet right now just because everything's super sensitive, and it's kind of not worth my effort right now. But definitely watching the trends and seeing where that goes. I think society is very uneasy right now. And it's actually a shame, because we should be moving towards a more positive and more, elevated type of society. But I just feel like we keep digressing in different matters. And it's frustrating to see, because it's being enabled by people of power who want to see it go back that way.
Yeah.
But it's like our generation is fighting to keep it moving forward. So it's kind of like you're at a struggle. And the last one was...
in that same category, or just the last?
In that same category, I believe.
It was society, culture, politics. So I guess culture was...
Culture is super important to me, just because of the background that I come from. Like, I love learning about other people's culture. And I feel like it makes you a little bit more neutral when dealing with people. Like, you can understand where people come from and how they act a certain way, and be able to interact very versatile with them back. I think culture brings a flavor to the pot that is missing in a lot of situations.
For sure. Okay. And then the last was spirituality and or religion. So do you consider yourself a religious person? Are you spiritual? Like, what is...
I wouldn't say super religious.
Okay.
We grew up being taught about all three, the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible.
Okay.
My dad is Muslim, but we weren't raised super Muslim. I know about everything, and, you know, it was just kind of like your choice, whatever. You know, my dad once said, you know, he read all three of them and they all say the same thing just with different names. And, you know, I like that approach to everything because it just means everyone has their own way of thinking about it, but everyone at least thinks about it in that, you know, in that way. And it's very encompassing. I like that a lot. I wasn't very spiritual up until recently, within the last like 5 years, when, you know, different life things happen and it just makes you sit back and kind of put things into perspective. So definitely on this spiritual education road right now to try and learn different things.
Okay. So I'm going to get you to draw. So I want you to pick colors that represent you and your life and things that make you happy. Just any colors that make you feel something. And then I want you to tell everyone like why you picked the specific colors that you picked.
Okay. Is that too much?
No. So what colors did you pick and why?
So I picked a lot of bright colors because I'm just very in a vibrant space right now. Like I just like everything bright right now. It lifts me up. It makes me feel happy to see all these bright colors. I'm a very summer person. I'm a summer baby. I like warm weather. So that's where most of those came from. I picked purples mostly because I am a sports fan. I'm a Kings fan. Diehard at that. So anything purple always reminds me of them, and that's always something that gets picked.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to get you to draw for the rest of the time. You can draw whatever you want to. Don't feel any pressure. Nobody ever like finishes. Nobody's Picasso. Like it's just doodles to just do something with your hands. Okay, so the first question, what makes you the most upset? Like what really pisses you off?
I don't know if this is a word, but ingenuine people, not genuine.
Yeah.
People who go out of their way to just fake, like anything fake, honestly. I don't like to give off those vibes ever, and I don't like to receive those vibes. So anything that is just not, I don't know, when you said spiritual, I'm a vibe. I've totally noticed that I'm very good at picking up on someone's vibe or picking up on something and identifying whether I really will mess with that or not. And I kind of like protect my peace that way. When someone's being really fake, it becomes very apparent to me, and it's just it's not me. So I can't even fake it back to them.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What makes you really happy?
Basketball.
How did you get into sports? Because that is something that I wish I was into, and I just cannot, it won't click in my brain. So like, when did this start for you?
Oh man, since I was a child, honestly, I was the only girl that was being raised in, I have a brother, and then our whole neighborhood is boys. And so it was like my survival was to play video games, play sports, just do all, like I didn't wear my first real bra until I got a job at Victoria's Secret at 18.
Okay.
And then I just knocked into this whole girly side of me, but yeah, it was just one of the ways of bonding with one of my neighbors who's actually one of my really closest friends. He was a Kings fan, and I would go over every night and we'd watch these games, and it's just something that stuck. And then in parallel to that, I played basketball in high school, so I played sports in high school, so it was just kind of what you did.
Okay. So sports make you happy. Is there anything else?
My family. I'm a very family-oriented person, and my friends. Just watching everyone do well and find their niche and excel in it really makes me happy. And I like to help and encourage that in any way that I can.
Yes. Okay. What are you most afraid of?
This kind of hits home, but being left in a situation that I don't know what to do, but I can counter that and say that I now feel the confidence to know that I'll always know what to do, even when I don't. Like, it's more having like a trust of my own self at that point. But being hurt, everyone's afraid of getting hurt, but once you go through it, once you realize it on any different level, whether it's relationships, whether it's with family, friends, anything, you just realize like you learned a way to figure it out, and you developed a new skill, and it's more so empowering after that. So besides your typical spiders, that's really it.
Okay. Make a facial expression that explains you. Like, if you were a facial expression or an emoji, like, what would it be?
Definitely the eyebrow up emoji, because my eyebrow always goes up. Rolling my eyes. And then the cheesing one, the one that's just like all teeth, because so between those three, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your favorite song right now?
Chris Brown's whole Indigo album. So I wouldn't even say a song. I'm very eclectic, very open. I like a lot of stuff, but right now it's been 2 months, and I'm still bumping his whole album from start to finish. So
it's a goodie.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Explain to me what social media is to you. Like, what do you think about it?
It's a love-hate relationship that I am slowly more transitioning into dislike. I think a lot of people use it as a way of happiness, and I can't stand it because it's all fake happiness. You know what I mean? Like, there are some genuine things, but it just has destroyed a lot of things just because the accessibility to different things, which is fine. That's there's good and bad of all social media platforms, but for example, like all these ideal body images that are going around is really big, and just being around all these women in my life and hearing what they have to say and how they feel like they need to go through surgery, it's disheartening. It's disheartening. Like, you should really like and love who you are.
Right.
Which is really weird. My dad is actually a plastic surgeon, so I've grown up. Yep, I've grown up around it, but it was never anything in our household that I ever felt the need to go and fix something I didn't like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that a lot of people use it to mask their unhappiness as happiness, and you should really just deal with your unhappiness and try and heal from that instead of using social media to heal from it.
For sure. Okay.
So yeah.
Do you have a 5-year plan?
Loosely. I should probably have one that's more concrete, but I just broke into my field, and right now I'm in a space where I'm trying to absorb as much information that they're willing to teach before I move on to the next level. I do feel like I won't be there more than a year, and then on to the next where I can conquer. But I'm really using this opportunity to figure out what road I want to go down in my career field, because it's such a big avenue and with multiple roads, and I just want to figure out which one is going to be for me. But yeah.
So in like a perfect world in 5 years, like, what do you see for yourself?
I own my own business and I'm working for myself, and it's a company that has to do with IT and cybersecurity, because that is where my education comes from, but also encompassing something related to basketball or the NBA, trying to encompass both of them in some platform, some way, and giving something back to this world that enhances something with the NBA.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see whatever you come up with, because I'm like, I don't know what that would be, but that sounds dope. Do you have any vices?
Define vice again?
Like, when you're really stressed, Or just what do you lean on for comfort?
I'm a big gym person. So the gym is definitely my therapy. But yeah, I would say the gym, or even going, like, it all kind of falls under the same, going to the basketball courts and just shooting around, kind of to clear my head. I've recently encountered a situation where the gym was not that place for me, my sanctuary anymore, and I had to figure something else out to do to pull myself out of a hard, rough time. And I just, I kind of like being by myself, like dealing with stuff by myself, but I'm now very much into mental health. I've started down that avenue too, and I think mental health education needs to be pushed, because just like you work yourself out at the gym, you've got to work your mental stability, because especially with things like social media, dealing with different things that happen, it can eat away and chip away at that mental health. So.
For sure. Oh my God, I feel that. What is something that you don't want to say or don't want to talk about, but know you should because it could help someone else?
All the struggles I've been through, like the breakups, how bad it gets, how dark it gets, just any issue that's come up in my life. But you know what? Like, I've kind of come to a place where I don't mind sharing it with people. Currently, I have 3 friends who are going through a breakup and I just got out of one, and I'm more than willing to sit there and speak to them and let them know how bad it was, or be so open that they knew like how low it gets, but to also show them that there's light at the end of the tunnel, like you get through it and that kind of thing. So did that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. What do you feel will restore connection in our generation? Like, what do you think people can do?
That's a good question. I'm really not sure. That's a really good one. Isn't that where you come into play?
I'm trying.
I don't know. I guess spreading more awareness. Like, you're always going to have... I'm really not sure. That's such a good question. That is such a good question, because it's just so easy to... You know, I'm guilty of it. If I'm thinking about someone, I go on their Instagram page and I look. And it's almost like a temporary fix. Like, I don't feel the urge to reach out anymore. And it's crazy how that works. So you do an experiment, and I've done it before, where I've deactivated all my social media, and I just, you know, someone has come to me and been like, I was thinking about you, but I didn't see you on Instagram. Are you okay? And it's just so interesting to know that you notice that, but you can't call and see if someone's okay, or this, or, you know, that kind of thing. So it's very interesting, because they're going to be... especially with the kids being born today, who are born into Instagram, born into social media, it's going to be a lot harder to connect, or find them to connect with each other. So I guess it's like, if I was to have kids, it's going to be enrolling them in activities outside with people, you know. That's why sports, I think, is so good, is because you can't play sports with each other over the internet, other than this Fortnite thing that's going on, or this and that.
Right.
But that's why I think it's just super important to have these socialized experiences. So maybe doing things like that on a larger scale somehow, socialized events. I mean, everyone's looking for the next big event to like go to, or this or that.
Right.
So
having events where people literally just go and like talk and vibe, and just that'd be great, actually. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
In terms of what? I know that that's such an open-ended question, but it's like... I really am not...
If you can't think of the craziest, just think of a situation where you were like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, if you like saw it happen.
Well, it's literally just what I just told you. I don't know if that's okay to even...
It's up to you.
Even speak about, but I felt like I was on a Lifetime movie recently. I was in a car with a friend, and we were being rammed from all ends and sides of the car by a ex-girlfriend. And I just couldn't believe that was happening in that moment.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that was one thing. And then I guess any sort of, I work partly in retail right now, and just watching people interact with each other on a day-to-day just kind of takes me back. There's a lot of hidden racism that happens.
Really?
On both ends of the spectrum. It doesn't have to go one way. It goes multiple ways. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. But I mean, like, I'm not going to disclose the retail vendor that I work for,
right.
But at that particular store, like, you just see some of the craziest things. Like, I've seen strippers come in and count out their money on the counter. Like, it's things that you don't normally see every day. So I wouldn't say it's like the craziest thing, but it's just like interesting. It's different, exactly. But being rammed by a car in a car is definitely one of my craziest experience. I would say that's one for the books.
Can you talk about a time where you feel like you've been treated differently because of the way you look or because of your race or just any, I don't know, situation like that? Yeah.
I can actually do a couple. There is, I work part-time right now for a retail company, and I used to be a personal stylist for them. And just to kind of give this story a little bit of context, but so when I'm there, like, I'll dress people ask my opinions, and that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I was going around and I was asking people if they needed help, and this lady was on her phone, and she looked at me, and I was like, "Hi, do you need any help today?" or something like that. I asked the question, and she was on the phone. She was like, "Hold on, this little white girl's trying to talk to me real quick." Well, she was a little wrong and a little off on who and what she was calling me,
right.
But I just I let it go, and then I went to go help somebody else, and so I dressed her for an event, and both ladies ended up checking out at the same time. Someone's checking out this one, I'm checking out my customer, and someone had asked, I think my customer had asked about my necklace, and so I gave them the rundown. My parents are from the Middle East, so I collected these charms and I put them on here, and this is how I made the necklace. And so you heard that the other customer was like, you could just see her all in my conversation, now realizing that I'm not a quote-unquote white girl or this or that. And then all of a sudden she just butts in and she's like, "What do you think of my outfit? Is this good enough for this?" It's almost like once she realized that I wasn't what she thought I was, now she wants my help.
Now she wanted to,
yeah. And it was just, it's very interesting to see that little flip. There has been another time where yeah, I mean, like, I little comments here or there, like terrorist comments that I've gotten before, but like most people play it off like it's a joke, but
it's not funny.
It's not. It's not. And I'm not the type of person to sit here and like make a huge stink about it.
Right.
I'm gonna mentally take a note of what you're saying and
Are
what
these
kind
people that you know, or just like strangers that have just like said this stuff?
I've had them both.
Okay.
People that I know, it's like it's easier to be like, all right, in what context are you saying it, that kind of thing. But the random people, it's like they're trying to make a nervous joke, and it's like that's not a
That's not the route to
right.
take.
That wasn't it. So it wasn't funny, and that wasn't it. So I kind of explore like, well, are they socially awkward? Is that their nervous thing? Like that's the only thing. But it's not me to like dwell on a situation. All right, cool, that's what it was. Keep it moving, and that's what it is. But it's just very interesting to see people interact with each other.
For sure. Are you self-conscious about anything?
It depends on the day. How about that?
That's fair.
Overall, no. But sometimes I think my cheeks are a little chipmunky. But I've had them since I was a kid. And honestly, like, I'm a byproduct of my parents. And I see that every day in the mirror. I wouldn't want to change that. It's like, it's something special to see. It's like, I have that of them and me, so.
Do you think you're equal parts, both of them, or do you look more like one of your parents?
Growing up, I was definitely more my dad, and now people say I'm more my mom, but I see both. I feel like I'm an equal part of both of them.
That's so awesome. What's missing?
With me?
Yeah, just in general, what's missing?
you know what? I could sit here and tell you all the wants that I think are missing. But if I'm going to be really completely honest with you, nothing's missing. I have everything I need between the love and my family and myself and my friends. I was just recently kind of reflecting back on mainly my friends and my support system. And I am so blessed. So blessed for the people that I've encountered, the people who are in my life, and my parents, the opportunities they've given me and everything. So no, there is nothing missing, honestly.
I love that. That is a blessing.
That is.
I like to ask everyone in our generation about money. So what is your relationship with money? And how do you feel? And where are you at?
I mean, we live in a generation where money is everything to everybody, but I've experienced where it doesn't do a damn thing for somebody in any certain, you know what I mean? Like, money really only buys so much. Money really, in my opinion, does not buy happiness. Like, all right, cool, so I can go and buy all of this stuff. But, all right, in my opinion, once you wear it, once you go through that first excitement, what's left? Right. There's literally nothing left, but the next time you want to go shop, like, it's just like a constant process. Money is obviously important for survival. Right. But I don't think it defines a person. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it's important, which is why, like, if a coworker is hungry and doesn't have money, I'm gonna pay for their lunch. Like, I just, I don't care if someone needs help. I'm gonna help them. That's just how I was raised. It's no big deal for me. And I don't say that just because I feel like people may say that because of where I come from, but I get no help at this point. Obviously, like, I'm 30 plus. I get no help from my parents or anything like that. Everything now is on my own. Yeah. I was blessed growing up to be able to live comfortably, but also with the values that I'm gonna have to provide for myself one day. Yeah. And I think they did a really good job like that of that with us. So yeah, no, money is important, but just for basic survival. But people put way too much emphasis on it, and I feel like it makes them into people that they're not. Like, I've seen people change with money, and it's a beautiful thing when someone can come into money and not get changed, and they are still very grounded. And I've encountered those people, and those are some of the most amazing people too.
That was a good answer. And the last question is, if all of the electricity went out, but all the screens, like TVs, phones, computers, were still on, and it was like PSA, public service announcement, and then it was your face. Like, what are you going to say to the world if everybody could see you in that moment? Like, you have the floor.
Oh, yikes. Woof. That's a good question. I think my first instinct would be to tell everyone to remain calm. I don't know if, that's I would love to see what would happen, like, what I would do. But it would be trying to get some sort of order or, establish, like, some sort of outlet of information. Does anyone know anything? Reach out this way. Try to get, like, everyone's ducks in a row after something like that happens, because it's like chaos. And that's not what you want when something like that happens. You want to see people kind of band together and figure it out. So, I guess.
Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
This was amazing. Let's see what you put together.
Honestly, it wasn't much.
It's okay.
It wasn't much. I started and then I just stopped. I'm a huge doodler though, but I'm a doodler of, like, that S that everyone seems to do. Yeah. And then I write out names, and then I'll just do circles and stuff like that. But clearly I have attention issues because I wanted to give you my attention while I was starting to do this.
Totally fine. Can you sign it?
I can definitely sign it.
Okay.
Okay. My heart was the best thing about this picture. All right, so this is Tara in the flesh.
That's right.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you okay.
Bye.